Today on ABC Sports, the 29th season of the Professional Bowlers Tour begins with a $175,000 AC Delco Classic. Then it's the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Those clown princes of basketball, the Harlem Globetrotters, take their special brand of wizardry to the sands of the Caribbean. And meet Greg LeMond, Wide World's Athlete of the Year. That's all coming up beginning next with ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour. The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
Memorable moments from 3 decades on the Professional Bowlers Tour. First Firestone winner, Billy Hartley. Dick Weber has won a PBA tournament in 4 decades, including 3 of the first 4 PBA events. Earl Anthony, the legend, winner of 41 titles. Here going over the $1 million mark. The only time the 7-10 split was converted on television was by powerful Mark Roth in 1980. Marshall Holman, the PBA's all-time leading money winner with earnings of more than $1.4 million. Pete McCordick's exciting 300 was only the 4th of 5 we've witnessed on television in 28 years. A $100,000 shot. And the new breed for the 90s, talented Pete Weber. Stylist Brian Voss, PBA Player of the Year Amletta Monicelli, and the man many people consider the Player of the 80s, Mike Albee. ABC Sports presents, live in its 29th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today from Torrance, California, it's a $175,000 AC Delco Classic. In our first match, 2 two-time Firestone champions meet as Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas, takes on Medford, Oregon's Marshall Holman. That winner will face Milwaukee, Oregon's Dave Husted, looking for his 7th PBA title. The winner of that match will take on Lafayette, Indiana's Mark Thayer, making his first PBA Finals appearance. Our tournament leader is 8-year veteran Ron Williams of Fort Worth, Texas, trying to win his 2nd PBA title. That's our outstanding field for today's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. The Blue Pacific, only a mile and a half from the Gable House in Torrance, California. Welcome to our first Professional Bowlers telecast of the 90s. I'm Chris Schenkel. As we begin our 29th season of this series, ABC's commitment to professional bowling is stronger than ever. We'll be with you for practically every week through July. A total of 24 telecasts this year with record-breaking prize money, a total of $3 million. And you know, we'll be on the same time period each telecast. 3 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, 2 Central. And as usual, as we have been for years, we are the first of the 1-2 ABC Sports Punch, followed by Wide World of Sports like today, the awesome Harlem Globetrotters. You're probably wondering why this beautiful Chevrolet Corvette. Well, AC Delco, today's sponsor, will present this car to the bowler who bowls a 300 game. And for the 8th consecutive year, True Value Hardware stores will offer a check for $100,000. You talk about a package, high performance, high stakes. And speaking of performance, my colleague of 15 years is inside Gable House, so let's join him there now.
There's a capacity crowd on hand here at the Gable House lanes, and we're just a moment away from the opening match of the 1990 season. But before we have that first match, I'd like to reflect a little bit on what's happened in our sport in the decade of the 80s and what I expect in the 90s. First place in the 1980s, along came the urethane bowling ball and the short oil conditions. This tremendously changed the game, made very high scoring environment, and I think it's made it very tough for the amateur players, especially in college, to make the transition to the pro ranks. Now for the 1990s, the PBA Tour has a very demanding and fair lane condition. They have them almost an equal oil gutter-to-gutter shot set up this week, and you're rewarded for the good shots, and it's very punitive if you throw a bad shot. So, Chris, we have a big match coming up, and there's a lot of money at stake. Let's take a look.
This year, a total of $175,000. The winner, 35, 18, 10, 8,000 and 6,500. Wonderful field of champions. Only one that has not cashed in the winner's circle, and we'll see him a little bit later. But right now, it is Mark Williams and Marshall Holman.
And Chris, the championship here, I said the oiling, the lane's almost equal gutter to gutter. The oil is 30 feet down the lane, very heavy in this area, and then down to 45 feet, it's a little lighter, then dry on the back end. And the trajectory all the right-handers are playing is around the third arrow, down into the 1-3 pocket. You got to keep the ball in play, avoid the open frames.
Here's a look at Beaumont, Texas. Mark Williams qualified 5th. Look at his average, 217. And on this championship pair, 2 games, he averaged 220. So here's the first shot of the 1990s. Mark Williams, a Texan. So the 85 and 88 Firestone champion, Mark Williams. Perfect. Now, Marshall Holman, 4 major titles, 2 Firestones, 2 U.S. Opens, 1987 Player of the Year, and the most colorful of them all. Well, that high hit nearly got him in a lot more trouble, Bo.
Well, Marshall, as we well know, is a very animated player, and he gets a good break right out of the chute here as you look at his classic style. Watch how steady his shoulders and head stay all the way through the shot. Arm swing, shoulder high, wrist cocked, a low profile at the line. He has as good a form as anyone in the sport.
Consistently shooting spares has helped him earn that $1.4 million plus on the tour. He's 21 titles, 16 years of PBA member. Earl Anthony with 41 and Mark Roth with 33 are the only 2 that have more championships.
A little rosin in the thumb and finger holes, making sure to wipe it off the outer surface of the ball. You're not allowed to put anything on the outer surface that would change the roll or leave a residue on the lane. So this is a pretty good pair, Chris. 13 and 14 here in this 40-lane establishment are what we call a matched pair. Once you start hitting one lane, you normally can hit the other lane. That always bodes for good scores.
All right. The left lane is to Marshall's liking. We're in our very first game. If you just joined us, the winner will meet Dave Husted, and then a non-winner from Lafayette, Indiana, Mark Thayer, and from Fort Worth, Texas, our tournament leader, Ron Williams. Beaumont's pride and joy, 6 foot 1 inch, 175-pound Mark Williams. Oh, nice break at the end. A double and a 10-pin lead, Nelson.
Mark gets a great break here as the 6-pin just lays in the 10. You look at his style, very similar to Holman's, the short backswing, and gets the good break in the right-hand corner. And both these players are really tournament toughened. Both Firestone champions, and neither one of these fellas gives away titles, so great opening match.
Mark in match play was 14 and 9. Oh, a 3-bagger. The game is on.
Well said. Holman threw 1 ball on the right-hand lane. We saw he left the 6-pin. He immediately went over and got another ball that didn't hook quite as much, i.e. lower surface friction urethane bowling ball. He made the adjustment, got a strike on 13. Let's see if it works on 14.
So, what do you do next, though?
Well, Larry, Cam, Caroletti, and I shot a number of shots in New Jersey to give the bowlers a new look, but we couldn't make this one, so he just has to get 2 pins and go on to the next frame.
Marshall started out poorly on the winter tour a year ago, but he closed very fast at the end to earn a total of $81,295. But here's a man that's been over $100,000 in 8 seasons, 6 of them in a row.
Something to watch for Marshall. In his release, watch his fingers. If they go over the top of the ball, he bowls poorly. If he goes straight up like that, it rolls well. What happens with Holman is he tries to hook the ball more, his hand tops over the ball, he gets too much spin, and it slides by the head pin. Now watch his release. He's inside, a little bit over the top, leaves the 2-8 double wood.
A 34-pin lead now held by Mark Williams here at the Gable House in Torrance, California. We'll be back.
4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
You know the difference between the AC Delco parts that go into race cars and the ones that go into your car? There isn't any. If you want to win, run with a winner.
Mr. McDonald, let's talk chicken. Are you aware that the public prefers the taste of Kentucky Nuggets to your chicken McNuggets by almost 3 to 1?
No, sir.
And is your McChicken sandwich made with the Colonel's secret blend of 11 herbs and spices?
No, sir.
So how do you expect to sell chicken?
Toys! Lots of toys!
Taste our best. $1.99 for the Colonel's Chicken Sandwich and Fries or Kentucky Nuggets and Fries.
Here is the leader in our very first match of the new season. First of 16 stops on the Winter Tour, to be followed by 8 more from the Spring Tour. Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas, winner of 6 titles. His first title came in 1984. Have flown in to cheer him on, and at this point they're very happy because 4 in a row. We asked Mark what he expects for the 90s in bowling.
Well, my last 2 years on tour, I've achieved a goal of cashing in 75% of my tournaments. I'd like to continue this consistency, hopefully win more tournaments. I've won 6 tournaments the past 6 years. I'd like to win more tournaments in the 90s and hopefully start off the 90s with a bang this week.
Well, he had a 4-bagger going until now, the 5th frame, but it's still a heck of a start.
Mark Williams, when he maintains an even ball speed, such as 17 or 18 miles per hour, he's very effective. This particular ball, he rolled much slower than the first 4 frames, drifts high and leaves the 3-6-10 spare. Pretty tough shot here in the 5th frame.
The 6 and 10, leaving the 3. So that'll bring things much closer. And with Marshall Holman now, spare working, he'll be shooting in the 5th frame. Williams has 115 through 5. And we asked the same question of Marshall Holman, goals and what he expects.
Well, I'm going to stay full-time in the 1990s for at least through 1993. However, if I'm still bowling real well at that time, I'll reevaluate and maybe stay out even a little longer.
Okay. With that talent, he get a lot done. A lot of 4s this week here at Gable House.
Players have played that deep inside trajectory all week long. As I said earlier, the lane conditioner oil is applied almost equal channel to channel, so you have to play just left of the track, fall in it right at the end.
One thing about Marshall and our telecast, this being his 98th telecast, he is a time saver because he doesn't take much time in getting the job done. Now Williams. What a terrific head-to-head match play bowlers. Leaving a 7.
solid 7. He expected a strike on that hit. The 2-pin went to the sideboard and drove out the 4-pin before it could get back to the 7. A little bit disappointing as you see the style of Williams playing that deep inside line around the 3rd arrow. Now watch the action of the 4-pin, though. On the left-hand part of your screen, the 2-pin goes right in front of it, clips it off, and it doesn't take out the 7.
Capacity crowd here, recently renovated Gable House. 13th time that they have hosted a PBA event. And it's the 9th year for AC Delco being the sponsor of an event. Strike in the 7th frame, leading by 29 pins here in our first match, Mark Williams. There's the trophy for the winner.
This looks like something my mom would eat. It's kind of quiet, conservative. I don't think I can get into this. I mean, it's just a bunch of flakes. It doesn't taste the way it looks. I like the way it crunches. Maybe it's good because it's simple. Wait, don't tell me. I'm just like my mother.
Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
Don't worry. They're gonna love you.
Staying cool, trying to impress, making points when you put to the test, for showing what's inside of you. Winning their hearts, coming through this buzz for you.
Here it comes. It's cold and crisp, clean and refreshing. The one and only taste of the king of beers.
Frank Giffer live from our studios in New York. Coming up immediately following the bowling, the premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports, the always popular Harlem Globetrotters. Meanwhile, college basketball this afternoon. Second-ranked Georgetown defeated DePaul 74-64, 26 points for Alonzo Mourning. And ninth-ranked Georgia Tech is at 17th-ranked North Carolina State, 92-85 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Okay, back to more bowling and Chris Schenkel in Torrance, California. Chris?
Torrance, not too far from Frank's Bakersfield. It's a little trek. But in that Chevrolet Corvette we arrived in, it wouldn't take that long. But two powerhouses in college basketball, though, holding up the form. Georgetown and Georgia Tech.
Good game. And for Holman, who now trails by 29 pins going in the 7th frame, he needs to pick up his ball speed. He's a little bit tentative. He needs to keep the speed up, and what that'll do is keep it from breaking so sharply in the 1-3 pocket. Hopefully he can set up a strike.
7th frame. One thing about Marshall, he registers his feelings facially. Doesn't wear it on his sleeve necessarily, but you know exactly how he feels. And record-breaking performance by Mike Albee last year. Nearly 300,000 Monticelli. What a year he had, and Ballard, of course, as well. There were 11 professionals that earned $100,000 or more. So the opportunities are getting great, though, out on the tour.
Much better. Key shot for Holman, 8th frame.
So a 6-8 on the left lane.
Marshall just a little soft with that ball. Lets it drift high, grabs another one to hopefully convert the 6-10, and he's in trouble this match.
Henry is working with a strike up. So now he has 126 through the 7th. Still trailing by 29. As the Texan has the lead. Mark Williams. Ron Williams of Fort Worth, Texas, is our tournament leader. Leaving the 10.
Well, as I said, there's what we call an equal oil gutter-to-gutter shot here, and there's no help. If you pull the ball on the PBA Tour right now, it goes high in the nose, you throw it wide, it stays wide. And so the players do not get rewarded for bad shots. And both these players have rolled errant shots in the 8th frame. They've come away with relatively easy spares, but the match is still in Mark Williams' hands by 29 pins.
You saw the earnings of Mike Albee and Monicelli. Albee finished 9th this week at this event. Monicelli 25th.
Some interesting voting by bowling magazines and writers around the country, and has come up in the last couple of weeks. Amueto Monicelli was voted the bowler of the year by the bowlers themselves. As you see, the Harlem Globetrotters will be following us next from the Bahamas.
Paradise Island. All in support of the victims of Hurricane Hugo, St. Croix in particular, the Virgin Islands.
The Williamses, knowing their son has the match well in hand, with just 2 marks, he'll guarantee a victory. He has to make this 10-pin and fill the 10th frame. Chris, going back to some of the voting, Marshall Holman was voted the player of the decade by his peers, and some other magazines voted Albee, so it's up for anybody's grabs. Who is the player of the year? I still say they have to beat Holman week after week. He's the toughest.
Okay. So it's a spare in that foundation frame for the leader, Mark Williams. Mark, 32 years old. His opponent, 35, Marshall Holman. Spare up, 9th frame.
All right, for Holman, he's still in it. He has a possible 206 game. As you see, the overhead shot. Holman, a deep inside line, almost sliding in the left channel. Pops that 10-pin out. Watch the 6th, the love tap. Now, Holman needs a strike here in the 10th and the 11th to have any chance to win. That would force Williams to mark. If Holman doesn't strike on either frame, the match is over. Still in it, needs 1 more strike. Holman picks up the speed there in the 10th frame. The ball sets up solid in the pocket. Possible 206 game. Mark Williams would have to fill the 10th frame with a spare strike.
Marshall Holman, who had 5 TV appearances last year, 2 seconds, a 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Shoots a 195. Watch this reaction.
It has possibilities. No 10-pin. Mark Williams just stay behind the foul line. And he's the winner.
Leading a 3 as Mark Williams eliminates Marshall Holman in our very first game, and will now meet another Oregonian named Dave Husted. That's next.
The thinking that went into your Firestone tires took a lot of different tracks. At the toughest tracks in the country, we run in all sorts of competitions. We race a lot. We learn a lot. And it all goes into every Firestone tire we make. Firestone. Watch us. We're on the move.
Got Firestones again, huh?
I've got a 1-track mind.
Do it yourself.
Do it for yourself. Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Wood finish for beautiful color like no other, and Minwax polyurethane for fast drying protection that lasts.
Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By Naaman.
Sunday on This Week with David Brinkley, Black America, how far things have come since Martin Luther King Jr. Virginia's new governor and actor James Earl Jones reflect Sunday.
Antacid tablet like Gaviscon Extra Strength Relief Formula. The fire extinguisher, because only this Gaviscon dispatches a unique foam barrier to smother your heartburn, while acid neutralizers put out the fire. Gaviscon Extra Strength Relief Formula. The fire extinguisher.
WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
Bowlers Tour, brought to you by AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. By True Value Hardware, for quality selection and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. And by Firestone, watch us, we're on the move.
Our first match has ended, and with 6 strikes, Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas, has eliminated Marshall Holman, 213 to 195. Well, we've always pointed out that music is one of the great international languages, but the Harlem Globetrotters, I think, communicate with everybody all over the world. And Mike Adamley, who hosted the Harlem Globetrotter show on today's premiere of Wide World of Sports, I guess you'd have to say they helped a lot of people in the Caribbean.
Well, Chris, their story has always been about more than just basketball. They went down and visited many of the people in St. Croix afflicted by the effects of Hurricane Hugo, and they really, truly are ambassadors, goodwill ambassadors. I don't think I've ever seen a group of athletes who have the ability to touch people like the Harlem Globetrotters.
And ladies are involved, too, the females.
Yes, Sandra Hodge is currently their female player, great dribbler, a 3-time All-American at the University of New Orleans. She's special to watch.
Well, Mike, I'm looking forward to seeing it right after we're off the air here with the Pro Bowlers Tour.
I'd like to do that sometime. I go way back to the days of Andy Verapapa and Carmen Salvino. My dad's a friend of Eddie Elias and Dick Hoover, so grew up in the shadows of the Riviera Lanes in Fairlawn, Ohio. So I've been watching you guys for a long time.
Well, I'm glad you're on our team, Mike. You made a great addition, and we'll watch Wide World following our telecast.
Chris, good to see you both.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care.
Thank you, Mike Adamley. Well, the Kingpin standings, Budweiser coming back for the second year, sponsoring a $50,000 pointless competition. It'll run through winter and spring tours. Players finishing among the top 24 will be awarded points, and each tournament leader receives 10 bonus points. Like today, Ron Williams, our tournament leader. The winner today will get a much bigger total. It was won last year by Mike Albee, Del Ballard, and then Monticelli. And Budweiser will have 2 of our events this year. So we look forward to those as well.
2 tough seasoned players coming up now that both made swing changes, or arm swing changes earlier in their career and has made them successful players. David Husted, Mark Williams.
Well, that'll take some of the tension off the veteran Dave Husted with 6 titles in his 12-year career.
Going back to the swing problems that both players had, Chris, Mark Williams used to have the ball bounce to the right at the top of the swing. Now he bends his elbow slightly and accommodates the swing, goes straight.
So Mark Williams leaving the 6'10" on the right lane of this championship pair.
Williams, an easy bowler to chart. He's very accurate, but his speed varies. Sometimes he throws it a little too soft, drifts high, once again the 6'10". When Williams can keep that ball speed up around 18 or 19 miles an hour, he's very effective, and he's still one of the best clutch players out here on the tour.
Match play, 14-9-1. That's how they, top 24, that's how they compete the final stages in order to get to the final 5. Our format is the same practically from day one in 1962. And
the overhead angle, this is looking up the lane. straight down the lane. This is the left-hand lane, lane 13 in this 40-lane establishment. Look at the position. Mark Williams on the approach. The deep inside line. He'll slide over by the left-hand channel, start the ball down the middle, and swing it back.
And now the 6-time winner is faced with the 4-7-10. That'll furrow the brow.
4-7-10, very difficult. And you have to slide the 4 over into the 10, so he's got to get the ball over to the left-hand side of the 4-pin and slide the 4-pin over into the 10 to convert this difficult split. And there's how it should look.
And the capacity crowd here liking the all-out effort and trying for the conversion, but it's an open frame.
Chris, that's one of the overhead shots we were talking about. Director Larry Cam and producer Carol Letty. We shot a number of those, and it's very interesting on some of the confusing splits to see the pin action from that overhead shot.
Of course, you converted that spare in the first stroke, I know.
I was only standing 5 feet away, Chris. No. Directly overhead, you'll watch the approach of David Husted. Watch how close he slides to the foul line as he tries to get a double in the early going.
And the young man who won his first title in 1982. What an auspicious way to begin in Houston, winning the United States Open.
And Chris, when he gets hot, remember how he averaged almost 250 in winning that U.S. Open. And Husted, a well-trained, good all-around athlete, basketball player in high school, good golfer. But when he gets hot on the bowling lanes with that high backswing, he gets that great rhythm going, shoots as big a scores as anybody. Off to a great start here.
.610 on the left lane.
Once again, the head-on shot, the deep inside line, and all the players are playing. Husted just pulls the ball slightly, breaks up the 6-7-10 split, ends up with the 6-10 spare. Foul light has gone off, Chris, and there'll be a ruling right here. As he released the ball, a foul light went off, and it is the judgment of Harry Golden that he did not cross the foul line. Now, to explain the rule very simply, you must touch across the foul line with any part of your body to have a foul. The ball itself cannot foul. So, despite the light going off, Husted was awarded the spare, and he still leads by 22 pins.
Now, Mark Williams. Wonderful comeback after the open frame. In the third for the first game winner, he defeated Marshall Holman 213 to 195. AC Delco Classic in Torrance.
$35,000 on top, Chris. That's a good opening week.
What a wonderful invention in the 50s, Nelson.
The automatic pin setter, the bowels of the bowling center, eliminated the need for pin boys and has made the game wonderful for everyone.
So that double, beautifully done by Mark Williams.
Users of ordinary nasal sprays will do almost anything to keep the spray up in their nose, where it can work. Which is why so many people now use Sinex Ultrafine Mist. It's twice as fine as ordinary sprays, so its medicine goes up and stays up to give you the best relief possible. You don't have to stand on your head to get relief. Just get Sinex Ultrafine Mist.
Looks like Winter just did in that poor fellow's battery. Wonder if he knows the real killer was the heat last summer. Wonder if he's smart enough to replace it with a battery built for extremes. Smart enough to get the maintenance-free, high-cranking Delco.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Smart fella. Could be a Jaeger. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-DELCO.
On land, under sea, and in the air, the Harlem Globetrotters tip off the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sport. Next.
Globetrotters next. Right now, we're in the beginning of our second match. Live coverage from Gable House in Torrance, California. Mark Williams, first game winner, going against Dave Husted, whose wife, Michelle, mother of Corey, watching on as he leads by 12. Spare up. Shaky.
Almost gets a super break as a pin comes from the right-hand part of the lane. It's probably the 3-pin or the 6-pin that came off the right-hand sideboard. Unusual pin action. Almost trips out the 4. Converts the spare, maintains his lead of 11 pins. And Chris, going back to the foul that occurred, or the apparent foul that occurred in David Husted's third frame, anytime you cross the foul line, whether it be on the 13 or 14 or any lane left or right, you can foul, but it doesn't make any difference which light goes on. But obviously it was a malfunction, and Husted was awarded the spare and still maintains an 11-pin lead through 4 frames.
All right. He opened with a double, marked with 2 spares and now a strike, as Mark Williams had doubled 3rd and 4th frames. So Mark has that up. The lead is only 11. He can come within 1 pin. Next Saturday on ABC Sports, we'll be in Las Vegas for the oldest stop on the PBA's Winter Tour, the $175,000 Showboat Invitational. High-rolling action from the Vegas Strip, beginning at 3 Eastern Pacific, 2 Central. It's our time slot every week going through July.
Williams can cut the lead to 1 with another strike.
Tremendous concentration written on his face. High game this week was a 299 for Mark, leaving a wobbly 7.
Mother and father, very proud of their son's performance, and Mark Baker's a tour-made player. When he first came out here in the tour, Chris, I wouldn't have given him a chance of making it. He worked hard at his game, is now one of the top players.
Mark has strung 4. And Husted trailing by 9 with a strike up. Can regain the lead with this shot on the right lane.
Pretty aggressive shot by David Husted as he speaks to himself. I like it when he keeps his ball speed up. Husted with real long arms and a high backswing. When he tries to slow down his shot, he decelerates at the bottom of the swing and doesn't get an effective ball. You're not going to strike every time, but if he throws it that way, he'll be mighty tough.
We asked Dave Husted of Milwaukee, Oregon, what his goals were for 1990.
Well, hopefully in the 90s, I can put a lot of experience that I've gained in the 80s to good use. I like to go out and continue to be a consistent money earner. I like to win a few tournaments and lots of money.
Okay, good goal.
12 years experience already under his belt.
Just did not come up, leaving the 245 on the left lane.
245, probably the most chopped spare we have in the sport of bowling. Is you can cut right through and chop the 2-4 off the 5, but ideally go right between them and split them. So Husted will probably go down the left side of the lane, try to keep from having the 2-pin chop off of the 5.
All right, nicely done on the 245. Crowd appreciating his skills, and so do we. See more of the skill after this.
It's back. The biggest battle in football history. As Budweiser takes on Bud Light in Bud Bowl 2. Pick up your official program wherever you see this display.
Hey, cool.
It's packed with trivia, player profiles, and details on how to order your Bud Bowl 2 souvenirs. Use it to follow the score on game day, and you'll be a winner. So get ready, get set. On January 28th, score with Bud Bowl 2. This time, it's war.
I remember when I was a young man, my father telling me about the Acoma Indians. Their culture and history were one of America's greatest glories. Well, then I got the time to see it for myself. Of course, affording it's another matter. I wasn't sure I could make it, but AARP helped with discounts on hotels, motels, even the car I rented. So here I am. And you know what? My father was right.
AARP, making a difference.
Bowling's High Rollers hit the Las Vegas Strip on the oldest stop of the winter circuit, the Showboat Invitational, next Saturday on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Did you know? Well, you can punctuate that one. Marshall Holman, who was eliminated in the first game by Mark Williams, has earned $1.4 million on tour.
And I think he'll continue adding to it. Holman, 35 years old, he looks as sharp as ever as I watched him today, and he has one of the great talents, and he'll be in Las Vegas with all the rest of the top pros.
All right. August, Las Vegas, Showboat Invitational, and then the Pinole Open, Northern California, where we had a power outage just 1 year ago, our first telecast. Oh, bodying. And look at that, count them, 5 in a row.
Great pin action by Mark Williams. He sends the head pin to the sideboard and wipes out the 2, 4, and 5, 7 pins. Takes a commanding 22-pin lead through 7 frames. Can extend to 32 pins by making it 6 consecutive strikes.
We move along, Nelson.
No doubt. That was the strongest ball he'd rolled so far today. He just saws that 5-pin out and just rips the 4-7. And David Husted had been a little bit tentative of getting up here in the 8th frame. He wanted a re-rack. I don't know if it was awarded as we were watching Williams' shot. Let's see what happened.
Good results from that very high hit by Dave Husted. Replay of his profile.
I said David Husted made some swing changes early in his career. See how he pushes the ball out to the right. He used to swing the ball way behind his back. Now it's right in line with the target. Watch how close he comes to that left leg, and look at that elbow extending right down, an arm swing, right down the target line. That was perfect. He has matured. He is ready. But he needs this strike to stay in the match. 9th frame.
Husted. He looks like the All-American boy, and he is, believe me. Back-to-back honors the Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award, voted by his fellow players, and he is exactly that. What a disposition.
Yes, his father, Champ Husted, who was a pro bowler in the 60s, who runs 2 bowling centers up in the Milwaukee, Oregon area, has to be very proud of him. Right now, Mark Williams going at a 236 pace. Husted can still bowl 235. It's up for grabs.
Leaving the 6-10 after 6 in a row. He had 6 strikes in his first game victory over Marshall Holman, 213 to 195.
From the overhead, you see the deep inside line of Mark Williams. A little soft with the shot. Drifts up high. Almost leaves the 6, 7, and 10 pins. But by not striking in the 9th frame, he leaves the match up for grabs. It's who can perform in the 10th frame will win this one.
Both very athletic professional bowlers. Williams 6'1", 175. Husted 6'2", 170. And in shape.
Both these players projecting the score. Let's say that Williams goes strike spare. He'll finish with 234. David Husted could strike 3 times in the 10th, 11th, and 12th frames. We would have a tie.
2 Firestones in 85 and 88. His opponent in this match, Husted, was 5th in the Firestone last year.
With that solid 10-pin wrap, as you see the concerned faces of both players going in the 10th frame, Dave Husted can determine his own fate. He has a potential 234. The best Williams can roll is 233.
Carefully checking the overhead score.
Husted, by being the higher finisher in the 42-game tournament, determines which lane he'd like to finish on, and he picked the right-hand lane, lane 14, so that should be his favorite lane. He needs some strikes to win the match. We still have a possibility of a tie.
Really reaching out for that one. 6-10, and it's a 231 for our first game winner, Mark Williams.
Looked like Mark was just a little bit lazy on that fill ball there in the 11th frame, getting only 8 pins. A strike would have made Husted strike 3 times. Now David Husted needs 2 strikes and an 8 count to win. Anything less, and he loses.
Well, Mark Williams now has won 2 matches. We'll have that final score for you as he awaits his match with rookie Mark Thayer.
Welcome to the 1990 version of the Bowling Tips of the Week here on ABC, a tradition for a number of years. Our opening tip involves scoring. Just a little review. There's only 3 things you must remember: strikes, spares, and open frames. Let's take a quick profile look at a score box. Let's say in the first frame I knock all the pins down with my first shot, a strike. Now, strike is 10 pins plus the total of the next 2 shots rolled. Moving into the second frame, let's say I knock down 9 pins with my first ball. Then I miss the next shot. So now I have what we call an open frame. But the first frame has a strike, so it gets 10 plus the next 2 shots rolled. That'd be 9 more, so it's 19. 9 more added in the second, 28. Come up in the third frame. 5 pins on my first ball. Now I shoot the spare shot and knock all the remaining 5 pins down. Now a spare has a bonus of 10 pins plus the pins knocked down on the very next shot. So coming up in frame 4, let's say I knock down 7 pins. Add 17 pins to the 28 I had in the second frame. I have 45 in the third. Now there's 3 pins remaining standing in the fourth. Let's say I only knock down 2 of them. So now I have an open frame in the fourth. I have 9 more pins to be added to my 45 in the third, 54 in the fourth. Remember, bowling is a cumulative scoring system. I hope you enjoy the tips all year long, and I hope this is a good start for you in the 1990 season.
ABC Sports brings you the ultimate bowling home video.
Now, let's get on with the action.
Learn how to fix your problems the right way. Improve your game strategy. And practice smarter. It's Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Okay, it's a new year. So start your plan of action at your True Value hardware store. During True Value days, this Master Mechanic high-torque cordless screwdriver is only $27.99. And this Master Plumber canister drum auger, just $3.99, has 20 feet of wire to clear clogged drains. Then make a dull room brighter with True Test high-hiding flat latex wall paint. Just $5.98 a gallon in the True Value Day circular and at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Victoria.
What? They finally found a substitute for the sweet roll.
Hey. Nutri-Grains, almond raisins.
What is this, nuts and twigs?
Try almonds, raisins, and these great flakes made with brown rice.
But there's no sugar added. Irv, you're going to love the taste, even though it's healthy. Hey, don't you have a story to write?
How's this?
Man eats healthy food and lives.
The amazing taste of Nutri-Grain's almond raisin. It's news.
Again, with 6 strikes and 6 in a row, Mark Williams has defeated Dave Husted 231 to 200. Husted leaving with a check for $8,000. Holman, who lost the first game, $6,500. And our Penn Setter works beautifully, as they do all over the country, revolutionizing the game of bowling for all of you. Showboat Invitational, the stop. That is 1 week from today, and we'll be doing the finals of the ARC Pinole Open 2 weeks from today. Bo?
You're right, Chris, and here's the numbers for this week's tournament. 160-man field, average game was 203, 213 to make the top 24, 206 to cash. That was Brian Gable. Here's some of the other finishers. Baker and Williams very close to the top 5. Duke and Albee, all steady players, top players. Pensac, who won his first tournament, and from Osaka, Japan, Sakai, Ozio, Ferraro, steady names there, getting better every week. Chilton and Peterson, a couple of California boys. Lawrence, watch that name, and Westlake, the clutch player, making the top 24. Klatke and Jerry Eisen and Burt Rose got to be proud of their touring pro Palmer Falgren, and there's Palumbi and Berardi. And rounding out the field is Taylor. Larry Stevens had a good week. In 24th place, Paul Moser, and Amleto Mocelli just missed the finals, and he lost a roll-off 299 to 240, so he's out of the top 24.
Okay, it's Mark Thayer, a non-winner from Lafayette, Indiana. 31-year-old Mark Thayer. He had the best match play record in the final 24 games, winning 17, losing 7.
Has never rolled a ball on TV in his life.
No doubt the nearness of Purdue University has given him that competitive spirit.
I knew you'd get some Hoosier plugs into this match, but
well, we have to.
This young Thayer player, fella, is, Chris, he has never bowled even in a championship round at a regional level. You know, the PBA has 7 regions where players get a lot of experience, and he's never even thrown a ball at that level, so he's off to a good start.
But he's against a tested professional today with 2 victories, Mark Williams. There are 2 of my favorite Indianapolis drivers. Legendary Parnelli Jones on the left, and on the right, young Kevin Cogan, who survived that terrible crash last year, and we hope he'll be back in great equipment for 1990 as ABC Sports will again be back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Always great to come out here, Bo, because the racers are here, like my pal Carol Shelby, whom I'll see a little bit later this afternoon.
You know, it's interesting to see Mark Williams' ball carry. He has just such a wonderful ball speed, and he rolls it in such a relaxed manner. You keep an eye on how he and both this Mark Thayer stay behind the ball, get tremendous revolutions, and don't go over the top of the ball. So many amateurs try to turn the ball with their fingers. Keep that wrist underneath the ball.
And Mark crossing over. He picked up the fans last night with a great performance.
The profile of Thayer, a good high push away, got a strong high backswing, bends that right leg, drives that left leg down, and he just goes over the top of the ball. See the finish of his hand there? That's what you do not want to do. He had a good break, obviously crossing the left side to get a strike and keeping the match even. But more often than not, you'll pay a penalty when you top the ball like that at the release point.
By Mark Thayer, 2 by the man that's up on the approaches, drying the hands.
Great start.
It is.
Stone-faced Mark Williams. I wonder who his hairdresser is, Chris.
Did a good job.
Yeah, he's got a little extra there, though.
Strikes by each professional here in our 3rd match of the afternoon, our very first stop in a tour of 24 cities here in 1990.
All the way through to July, but right now it's Mark Williams and Thayer tied up 3 strikes apiece as Williams just ripped the rack apart. On that particular shot, he threw the 5-pin against the sideboard and actually took the 4-pin out coming across. He really looks sharp. As long as he keeps that ball speed up, he'll keep the string going.
go away. Our third match of the afternoon, they are perfect.
Here's a better twist in oil filters. The DuraGuard filter from AC. Compared to our old filters, it cuts abrasive engine wear nearly in half. Why look for any other filter? Now, there's twice the reason to go with AC.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
AC DuraGuard. Why mess with anything less? For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC Delco.
Mr. McDonald, let's talk chicken. Are you aware that the public prefers the taste of Kentucky Nuggets to your chicken McNuggets by almost 3 to 1?
No, sir.
And is your McChicken sandwich made with the Colonel's secret blend of 11 herbs and spices?
No, sir.
So how do you expect to sell chicken?
Toys! Lots of toys!
Taste our best. $1.99 for the Colonel's chicken sandwich and fries, or Kentucky Nuggets and fries.
On land, under sea, and in the air, the Harlem Globetrotters tip off the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sport. Next.
The most entertaining sports aggregation ever, the Harlem Globetrotters next. Skip Thayer, Mark's brother, his wife Kathy, here for support.
Skip Thayer, a vested interest, Chris. He backs Mark on the tour. Brother backs brother. Skip, just a little bit older, has to be proud. He's going to get a lot of money back this week regardless of what happens.
Now, string ending at 3, shooting in the 4th, leaving the 3-6-10. Mark's and Skip's mom, Dolores, is minding Mark's 2 sons, Brian and Sean, back home, babysitting. Hope they're watching.
Got to be rooting for Daddy as he has a difficult spare cross lane, the 3-6-10. We've seen this missed once today by Mark Williams in the first match.
And the foul light is on again. We asked him about the goals for 1990.
Well, I've had the past 2 years, I've had some real good learning experience, and coming into the 90s, I hope to have more consistency in my game and keep cashing more often and making finals, and hopefully start this 90s off with a bang this week.
Okay. He was far from the foul line on 13. The light on 14 is on.
Chris has gone off on his spare shot. When Mark Thayer shot the 3-6-10 spare in the 4th frame, the foul light went off. Obviously, he didn't go over the line. Harry Golden, our tournament director, ruled that he didn't go over, and now it goes off again on 14, so watch the break he gets. Watch the 3-pin, the 3rd pin on the right-hand part of your screen as it chops between the 6 and 10 that pins the second crossover strike for Mark Thayer.
Size of the crowd, well, standing room only. Probably 600. There are always limited seating capacity in any of our bowling establishments, which is unfortunate because more people want to be here. Oh, Rob. After 4 in a row, a 7-pin right lane.
The pin action and the angle of Mark Williams. Starts down the center, swings it wide. He'll throw that 5-pin over towards the 7, but the 2-pin chops it back out, avoiding, keeping him from getting 5 in a row. He leads by 12.
The winner of this semifinal game will meet the tournament leader, Ron Williams, from Fort Worth.
Right now, with the foul light difficulty, we have what we call a foul judge. Back in the old days, before they had foul lights, they had positioned a man who would look down the foul line across the lane to judge anybody fouling. Right now, it's Art Trask. There he is, former PBA champion. He will call all the fouls. No longer will the lights count.
Here you have Mark Williams in his 21st telecast, whereas his opponent, his premiere, right here in Torrance, California, Mark Thayer. come within 2. Pressure shot. Now only 2 pins separating.
Mark of a champion. Thayer has a wild shot in the second frame, gets a good break, makes a strike out of it, and capitalizes in the third with a good strike. Gets a good break in the fifth and capitalizes once again in the sixth. And one thing to watch about this young man is his good straight arm swing and his release. He has a tremendous release, a terrific roll on the ball. When he hits the pocket, he makes those pins talk.
Disappointment, 10 pin on the left lane. That shot was in the 7th frame for Mark Thayer.
Mark cross lane for the 10 pin. His wife Kathy hopes he makes this. He would trail only by 3 pins. A lot of room left in the game.
Mark joined the tour in 1987 after working 10 years at a gear manufacturing plant in Lafayette, Indiana.
This is really weird. I have to shampoo a lot. And every time I do, my hair gets wet, but my scalp gets dry. It's tight and itchy. The more I shampoo, the drier it can get. Now I can't stop shampooing, but I can use this. New dry scalp shampoo from Head & Shoulders. Made a different way, so it doesn't dry out your scalp like those other guys can. Try Head & Shoulders new dry scalp shampoo and help wipe out dry scalp.
Nothing hurts a bowler's performance like an out-of-balance ball. That's why I teamed up with the people at Ebonite to develop the Thunderbolt Dual Block. Its patented weight placement system as a dual weight block to offset the weight removed by drilling with incredible precision, making every roll more stable, every impact more powerful.
The Thunderbolt Dual Block from Ebonite.
Bowling's high rollers hit the Las Vegas Strip on the oldest stop of the winter circuit, the Showboat Invitational, next Saturday on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Yes, in from Detroit, 9th year of AC Delco sponsoring. Bill Carlson, who's manager of advertising and sales promotion, and Mark Hansen, who is in the advertising department for AC Delco.
Coming up, Mark Williams, 7th frame, strike up, leads by 3, can extend his lead over Mark Thayer to 13.
Second 4-pin of the afternoon. Thought we'd see a lot more, but...
Well, that's the shot they were leaving, Chris, a lot of. When you play the deep inside line, you don't want to throw the ball too hard, so you have the ball slide by and leave the 2-4-5 or even a pocket split. So a tendency of a player to soften up to get a little more break on the back end causes them to leave a lot of 4 pins. I feel Williams obviously staying very close in the match. He's been very tough so far. He's won 2, and he leads in this one.
Loser of this match, as we look at Mark's clearance, will get $10,000. But the winner will have an opportunity to bowl for a total of $53,000 in the final game, 35 of which goes to the AC Delco champion.
Mark Williams, the only player left in this trio that is eligible for the Firestone Tournament champions. Mark Thayer never has won a tournament. Ron Williams has won one, but he's not eligible this year. So we may have a new champion if Williams can't go all the way.
Well, now Mark Williams faced with a 310 on the left lane. What do we do here, Bo?
Well, the 310, a baby split, is one of the most common splits that anybody will leave, whether it's a pro or an amateur. And the key is to get the ball right here to the right of the 3-pin, let the ball deflect into the 10. There's how it looks from the overhead shot. Let's see how Williams handles it. Needs this to stay in the lead.
Well, things tighten up here at Gable House in Torrance, California. The man that won the first 2 matches, Mark Williams. And it's a 10-pin lead for Thayer.
We said that the key to the match plays right at the top of the championship round was to avoid the open frames. Williams gets an open frame, and let's see if Thayer can jump on it right here. 8th frame.
Breaking up the 5-7, Bo. That's a Nelson Burton shot.
Well, you like that kind of shot, Chris. If you can keep your speed up from the inside line and watch the action of the head pin. It's going to the left sideboard, and it's going to do most of the damage. It comes back across, kicks out the 4, snaps the 5. 4 goes back into the 7. Thayer has had 3 great breaks so far in the match. Leads by 10 pins. Let's see if he can capitalize here in the key 9th frame.
The 31-year-old professional married to Kathy, at whom you just saw. That is his first television appearance. Lips getting a little dry now. Had the best match game record. The 24 head-to-head people, 17-7, and had 2-game average on this championship pair of 239. Like a replay of Thayer's last shot.
Head pin goes to sideboard, does the damage. Now to set up the championship is a 20-pin difference. Mark Williams still has a possible 236. Thayer going at a 236 pace. Obviously, a good chance for a tie. Well, Williams needed a strike there, Chris, and he dejectedly picks up another ball, and he's just going to take a quick swing at this. Thayer is going to win this match.
So Mark Williams, who won the first 2 games, will have to be content this week at least, or with $10,000. But this young non-winner has a chance for 35 in the next game.
Makes no difference, Chris. The 2-5 locks him into a win.
Big afternoon for Mark Thayer. Now he goes against one-time champion Ron Williams of Fort Worth.
My pain is at the bottom of my elbow. It's throbbing. The more you twist, the more the pain hurts. When I get a pain like that, I will take aspirin.
Today, Richard Mazzancini is trying extra-strength Tylenol gel caps. For pain like his, why take aspirin or ibuprofen when nothing works better than Tylenol gel caps?
The pain is gone. It's great. It doesn't hurt. It feels fluid. I'm convinced I'm going to be a gel cap user.
Tylenol gel caps, only from Tylenol. For everyday pain, nothing works better. And for your cold this winter, now try Tylenol cold medication.
Many men have sensitive skin that's irritated by shaving. Aftershave Skin Conditioner is clinically proven to soothe and relieve razor-scraped skin. Sensible care for sensitive skin. After.
By Nene. The bill's twice as big as usual.
'Cause, honey, you ate twice as much.
With extra strength Tums EX, even twice the heartburn's no sweat. It's twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
Not since the days of the Ed Sullivan Show, or maybe Mr. Ed, has the whole family agreed on a show and actually wanted to watch it together. This is your show, America. America's funniest home videos premieres tomorrow.
When you get a cold or an allergy,
You need some herbal tea.
you also get a lot of advice.
What you want to do is feed a cold.
A lot of advice.
Take duties and call me in the morning.
But the best advice is what doctors have said millions of times. Take Dimetap. Dimetap in non-prescription formulas brings proven relief. So take the advice of doctors and pharmacists.
The tea works. Huh?
And take Dimetap. The best advice you can take.
Is there a conspiracy to destroy the black man on the next Oprah Winfrey Show?
Frank Gifford live once again from New York for the college basketball update. 4th-ranked Oklahoma has beaten Texas today 103-84, and 7th-ranked the University of Nevada at Las Vegas beat Temple 82-76. A reminder, coming up next, the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports. We'll have the special charm and magic of the Harlem Globetrotters from the Bahamas and the presentation of our Athlete of the Year award to cycling's Greg LeMond. Right now, however, let's rejoin Chris Schenkel for today's final match. Chris?
Okay, Frank, and form is holding up in college basketball, as you indicated. But here in Torrance, California, not necessarily, because we have a non-winner who's just upset Mark Williams, and he will go into the final against Ron Williams. 222-204 with 7 strikes for Mark Thayer. First television appearance ever accepting the pressure, Nelson.
Well, you're right, Chris, and he's throwing some really, really good shots, and he capitalized on a couple of good breaks he got, so he took advantage of it. He leads 222-204. And we'll have our regular Ask Bo segment, and there's the address. We'll try to do the best we can to answer any questions that anybody has, and it'll be starting next week. So there's the address to send me any kind of letters you have. Now the championship match, Chris.
Here we go. Ron Williams won his only title, the 1988 Budweiser Classic in Columbus, Ohio. PBA tour member for 10 years. Last year, a little over 50,000 on tour. Little bent arm delivery, as you will see. First shot, championship game. Well, a 2-4-5.
A bit tentative, but being the tournament leader, Chris, I like to see a player throw a little bit harder. You hate to go up high and get a split coming around and shoot. The first frame does not win championship matches. What he has to do is get the ball right over here between the 2, 4, and 5 and let it roll right through and cover the spare.
All right, it's a spare for the tournament leader, Ron Williams. He qualified for the finals in our first tournament last year in Northern California.
Lost a heartbreaker. Shot 250.
TV game ever. 222 to Mark Williams, 204.
What a nice, relaxed shot. He got over the pressure of that first game, and I know what it's like to win your first game in a championship round, Chris. To just get completely relaxed. The player is well-trained. He's just letting his training take over, and if he doesn't look towards the end of the match too quickly, he could be very, very tough. Second frame.
Adopted this Hoosier. He explained it. He said, well, they know that Purdue is in love with basketball just as UCLA here in California has been for years under a Purdue coach named Johnny Wooden.
Ron Williams with the unusual arm swing. He always reminded me of Gabe Brewer in golf. Remember Gabe Brewer's golf swing, Chris?
Mm-hmm. And Miller Barber a little bit. And Don Carter.
Bent arm takeaway, bent arm delivery. As we look at the profile of Williams from the back and how he developed this unique arm swing, he's trying to throw the ball a little bit harder one day, so he tried to look at the angle he has of that arm. He tried to get his arm to go up higher. Instead, he bent his elbow, and he really recovers the shot on the downswing, and that's the key point.
Difference of $17,000, winning or losing. And Bonnie, see the tension on her face. Ron's wife.
Ron was from the St. Louis area, actually Cahokia, Illinois, just across the Mississippi River. When he married Bonnie last year, moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we'll be in that area in 3 weeks for the Quaker State Open. Williams has been light in the pocket and high. Let's see what he does here in the third.
Leaving a 4-pin on the left lane. This is how Nelson and I see the lanes, and especially the championship pair. We have a perfect seat. We don't even have to pay for a ticket. Not bad, Bo.
Slightly to the right. We're behind lanes 15 and 16, the championship pair, 13 and 14.
in the face of Mark Williams. Ron Williams, now Mark Thayer.
Big shot for Mark. He's got an early lead, but Williams has the experience. Thayer would love to get way out in front. He could extend to 24.
Well, a 2-5. He's shaky at that on the right lane.
That's the combination he left in the 10th frame of the last game after Williams had given him the match, and he chopped the 2 off the 5. Let's see if he makes some sort of change. And you do not have to wait till that pin quits wiggling. You can still shoot at the pins while they're moving, if indeed the rack doesn't interfere.
Very wiry, powerful 31-year-old from Lafayette, Indiana, leading by 12 here in the title game. Last year's champion, in fact, winning his second AC Delco Classic, Randy Peterson finished 15th here in 90.
And the man who'll get knocked out of the Firestone by this game is George Branham III, and he won the AC Delco Classic to qualify. So, important tournament in the early part of the season.
Good action on that bowling ball by Mark Thayer. This is our championship game, 35 to the winner. More after this.
To show how Firestone Firehawk tires perform, we occasionally take some of them for a little weekend drive. At the toughest tracks across the country, we race on the same Firehawk SV street tires you can buy. Over 1 million miles now, and still counting. Firestone, watch us. We're on the move.
Great weekend. Sure went fast. It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
With a re-rack taking place, you notice that Ron Williams has just seated himself behind his opponent, Mark Thayer. We're running behind our 90-minute time segment, so bowling while we were away was Williams. In the 4th and 5th frames, he doubled, cutting Thayer's lead to 2 pins. Mark, though, has a strike up in the 4th. He'll be shooting in the 5th, way to the left of center, near the ball return. Another 2-4-5.
3 out of the last 4 shots on the right-hand lane have been 2-5 combinations for Mark Thayer. The 10th frame against Williams, then in the 3rd frame, and what happens is he throws the ball a little bit too hard as Kathy looks on, throws the ball a little bit too hard, it slides by the head pin, and anybody who bowls knows that this is a very missable spare for any quality player.
Thayer's wife, Kathy, like Mark, sitting in a bowling establishment with network television. And Mark is more than meeting the challenge, having defeated Mark Williams in the last game, 222 to 204.
He's come a long way since last night, Chris. After 34 games, he was 130 pins off the championship round. He had checked out of his hotel and on his way to Vegas. Now he could still win.
That wasn't helpful at all, was it?
One of his best shots, the solid 8. Apparently right where you want to throw the ball, just too much power. The 5-pin gets chopped straight back off the 8. An easy spare, but normally you get more than that and end up with a strike. So the margin is just 1 pin if Mark converts here in the 6th.
Very poised, composed. Mark Thayer. That pretty lady behind him is Mrs. Kevin Cogan Tracy. I know there'd be somebody in our viewing audience that would wonder who that pretty lady is.
Beautiful girl.
Yes.
Mark Williams, using a full fingertip grip, has one of the smallest hands of a pro bowler, but he sure gets the action on the ball.
Ron, the tournament leader, coming on strong, stringing 3.
Let's take a look at the grip of Ron Williams. I said he uses the full grip, just sticking his fingers in down to the first knuckle, but he has such a small hand, he doesn't get the big turn on the ball. A big hand, you can get tremendous turn on the ball. Ron keeps it right in play. See the ball slightly drilled off label. And just sticks the tip of those fingers in and bury that thumb all the way. So many amateur bowlers will not put it all the way in. They're afraid of sticking. Tucks that pinky in to tighten the grip, and he can take a 19-pin lead with a strike here.
A little concerned at the line, whether he was too close. He certainly had a good shot, making it 4 in a row now for the tournament leader.
A little swift by Ron Williams, but he still made a good shot. Some of the players had some problems this week. A lot of construction going on around here. Construction dust gets on the approach, gets a little slippery. The players have made the adjustment with their shoes.
Oh, did Mark Thayer need that crossover strike? That was a shot.
Well, every time he's gotten a good break so far, Chris, he's capitalized on that break. He got a break in the second frame of his first match. He got a strike in the third. He got another crossover, made that count. Now, when he needs it most, trailing by 19, he needs to capitalize on that lucky strike in the seventh and cut the lead of Ron Williams down to 9 pins.
Like a many-time winner, this non-winner, Mark Thayer. I am really impressed, Nelson.
Got that Hoosier blood in him, Chris.
Is that what it is?
I guess. He's capitalizing on the good breaks. Anytime you cross over and get a strike, you've really avoided a split. You missed so far that you actually were rewarded for a bad strike, a bad shot, and it's kept him in the match. Let's see how Williams responds.
Tough break. The 10.
That is the first solid 10 I can recall being left today. We've had a solid 7, a solid 8, and now the solid 10. And an inopportune moment for Ron Williams. It sets this match up where Williams is only leading by 8 pins. Watch the 6 pin on the right-hand part of your screen. Just nicks the edge of the 10, but doesn't take it out. Unbelievably, Ron Williams slides by the 10-pin. If he had struck on that particular shot, he would have opened up a 19-pin lead, got a bad break, left a solid 10, lets the ball slide off in the channel, and has gone from a potential 19-pin lead to 4 in arrears with just 2 frames left. It's anybody's match.
Finished 19th this week, has been our scorekeeper. There's a great bowling fans here in Southern California. They get with it.
Thayer has struggled on this lane the whole game. He's had a 2-5, a 2-4-5, and a crossover in the crucial 9th frame. Let's see what he does.
Again, the familiar 2-4-5.
Well, he's got it down how to make it. He missed it the first time, the 10th frame against Mark Williams, and he's converted it twice in this game. He needs to make it to maintain a 1-pin lead going into the 10th frame. Once again, as we said, these matches will be very close and very competitive with this type of lane condition that the PBA has set out here, and it's proving to go in the 10th frame once again.
Total of 53,000, 35 to the winner, 18 to the runner-up. Look at that, leads by the narrowest of margins.
Well, we have two opponents going head up each other, trying to get into the Firestone Tournament champions. Thayer looking for his first victory. Ron Williams trying to requalify. Two wives sitting side by side looking at a $35,000 paycheck. It all comes down to the 10th frame. Thayer leads by 1.
5 went out, leaving the 2-4.
Fairly easy spare with a conversion, have a potential 212 strike in the 11th frame. That would force Williams to either get a strike in the 10th or a spare strike to win. It's not over yet.
Second match, first time ever on TV, and he did win his match against Mark Williams, 222 to 204, but this one is close.
Well, it's so important on this 11th frame, or fill ball as we call it, to get a strike. If he strikes here, he'll force Ron Williams to strike either on the first ball in the 10th or make a spare and throw a strike. So don't get lazy and get a 6 or 7 count. Really bear down on this one. You're still in the match.
Gave one look at his wife, Kathy, after that powerful strike and closing with a total of 212.
Well, the destiny's in Ron Williams' hands. He's a good clutch player. I saw him grow up in the St. Louis area. When he needed it, he usually got it. He needs a strike and a spare, or a spare and a strike. Anything less, he can either tie.
Another power shot coming from the native Missourian.
Woo. I was going to say tie or lose, but Ron Williams, clutch player, proves once again it comes down to the 10th frame on the Professional Bowlers Tour. With that shot, he slams the door in Mark Thayer's face. That's a winner right there.
Oh! Taking out the 710. And look at Bonnie. A second championship for Ron Williams. $35,000. Let's go back to TV1 in New York and Frank Gifford.
Okay, Chris, the excitement will continue. Coming up next, the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Harlem Globetrotters, with all their zaniness and craziness and all their fun from the Bahamas. Plus, we'll present our Athlete of the Year award to cyclist Greg LeMond. We'll return to bowling right after this. Stay with us.
Looks like winter just did in that poor fellow's battery. Wonder if he knows the real killer was the heat last summer. Wonder if he's smart enough to replace it with a battery built for extremes. Smart enough to get the maintenance-free, high-cranking Delco.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Smart fella. Could be a Jaeger. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-Delco.
This looks like something my mom would eat. It's kind of quiet, conservative. I don't think I can get into this. I mean, it's just a bunch of flakes. It doesn't taste the way it looks. I like the way it crunches. Maybe it's good because it's simple. Wait, don't tell me. I'm just like my mother.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
Here's the last stop on our tour. The Fountain of Youth.
This one's on me.
How about a nice cold bud, young man?
I love this job.
Hey, Dave, check this out. I've invented a new sport called beach bowling.
Wait a minute, Lou. Wrong show. We're on ABC's Wide World of Sports after bowling.
Oh, so instead of playing with that, we'll be playing with this.
Yeah.
The tournament leader has won the AC Delco Classic over Mark Thayer, 232 to 212. Two fine hosts are flanking him: Bill Carlson, manager of advertising, sales promotion, and Mickey Cogan. As you look at the $35,000 won by Williams, Thayer 18, 10, 8, and $6,500. For Nelson Burton Jr., this is Chris Schenkel, thanking you for watching and hope you'll join us 1 week from today from the Showboat Lanes in Las Vegas. Goodbye from Torrance, California.
Stay tuned next for the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports as the Harlem Globetrotters bring their magic to the Bahamas. Plus, Wide World's Athlete of the Year. The Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Simple, delicious, and surprising. Taste them again for the first time. By Budweiser Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by AC